Time for Grime Watch, a time when we look at what you at home have been saying. Your gob is much more important than my own, folks, I'll tell you that much. Now, in the light of Nicola Sturgeon and her quest for Scottish independence, never-ending that it is, I took to Twitter and I said this: Nicola Sturgeon wants to put the question, should Scotland be an independent country, to Scottish voters again. Only that's not what she's really asking them. In leaving the UK, Scotland would become a client state of Brussels. How does that look anything like independence? A lot of you got in touch about that, so let's see what you had to say. Mac said, independence would allow Scotland to decide what relationship we have with the EU. That's what independence offers, as well as choice over our national government, Scotland's future in Scotland's hands. Well, no, it doesn't actually, because if you join the European Union, Scotland would be a diminished power, a much smaller economy than it is right now within the UK, within our family of nations. And actually, all you'd be doing is a plaything of Brussels. What is that in the terms of independence? Ed said, the Scottish overwhelmingly voted to remain in the EU. So by getting rid of England, they get what they democratically voted for. Well, look, I think actually, were you to say to the Scottish people, the choice is Westminster or Brussels, they'd recognise quite easily, given that the polls don't show an overall majority for Scottish independence, quote-unquote independence, I actually think the Scottish people would look at that and say, well, this doesn't sound like independence to me. Free movement of people. How are you going to do that with a border? Are we going to rebuild Hadrian's Wall? And I know some don't write in, folks, and say Hadrian's Wall is not the border with Scotland. I know it's not. Don't kill me for really, really weakening my North East credentials there. But Pedro said, I do believe a vote for independence and democracy needs to be had. However, it will take at least 10 years for Scotland to become a full member of the EU, if it happens at all. Europe might be a very different place by then. And Pedro, I think that's a really good question, a really good point, rather, to make, because the EU is changing at a rapid pace, actually. The bringing together, that harmonisation of monetary and political union means that the independence that you're afforded within the club is going to will be fewer and fewer policy levers that you can pull on a national level as more and more control is really sucked into the centre, into Brussels, into that unelected bureaucracy of the European Union. And that would be my case, folks. That would be my argument against Scotland thinking it could be independent within the EU. And Clive says, how can they be said to regain sovereignty when they want to give up so much fiscal and domestic power to Brussels? Wouldn't they also be obliged to join the euro? That's a really, really good point, Clive, because new member states of the union have to sign up to these political and monetary union attributes, to the parts of the European Union. You cannot pick and choose. And as I say, Scotland will be small, so Scotland won't be able to say, I want to pick and choose, like a pick and mix, what parts of the European Union I want and what parts I don't. It doesn't work like that. But thank you for your views, folks, as ever.